Hi, this is the start of my little vlogs. Let me start off though with giving you a little bit of introduction about myself. Hi, my name is Ellie Grace Davis. I was born the 11th of June 1996. I was born in England and I grew up there with my mum, who was a school teacher, and my father, who was a detective. I wanted to be an actress, so I decided to come to Quiet City to see if I could achieve those dreams. My parents stayed back in England. I'm here seeing what I can do. So far it hasn't worked out great. I'm just having to live paycheck by paycheck, but we'll see what happens. And I hope you enjoy the little ride that is my little journey, and stay along and let's have a journey together, shall we? My journey started with arriving at Quiet City. I have got the apartments here at Integrity Way, which is really next door to the hospital, which is very handy. I, not gonna lie, had a joke, tried to see how long I could be a local for. I got from here to the PD, and let's just say, not that far away. While trying to have a little bit of fun of pretending to be a local, I then got here to the PD, where a wonderful Bobby stopped me and asked how I was doing. I told him I was, doing great, that I was nervous because I just moved to a big city by myself, to which he reassured me that everyone's lovely and everyone would be so kind and welcoming, and it would be easy to make friends here. He then told me that in 15 minutes from the time that we was together, to head to City Hall, as everyone was there having a protest for Susie. My only issue was, he never exactly told me where City Hall was. I then went down to PDM, which is this place, Premium Deluxe Motorsport. I wanted to get my dream car, a Mini Cooper, so I did. The only problem was, I still didn't know where City Hall was. So now it was time to try and find where it was. Let's go on a journey. After the PDM, I went back to the PD to see if anyone was there, which nobody was. I then decided to look at my GPS, see if I could find anything on there. I found somewhere called City Services, went there, but obviously that wasn't City Hall either. So then after a long drive by myself, trying to figure out, some sort of direction, see where, the car takes me, I came across this glorious place. Now this had a bunch of people and cars outside. I decided to park up. That's when I saw Bobby's car. So this is City Hall. This is what I was looking for. I'd found it, stood outside with the protest for Susie, who, seeing as I only had just come into the city, still didn't know who she was, but decided to stay along and ended up meeting some glorious people and making some new friends. So I guess it kind of was worth coming down. After the protest, everyone said to go to a place called Tequila La La, which is a rocky kind of club, but it's really fun. While I was here, I met somebody called Willie and somebody called Dirk. I had a lovely chat with them, and that's when Willie decided that he would take me under his wing and show me around, and ever since then we've become the bestest of friends. Now buckle up, this bit may be a bit of a long story. So I ended up walking past the PD again, because apparently that's just all I know. I then met somebody called Owl, who is a lawyer, and 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪, who works at the PD. I had a chat with both of them. Just friendly, being nice, trying to make new friends. Owl then asked if we could go to the impound to grab both of his cars to take them back to his office, to which was slightly a bit of a struggle for me because when I drive fast, I get headaches. So I have to drive really slow. But we decided to go. He told me to drive the black car and Owl would drive the white one, while 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝑒𝐻𝑜𝑒𝑅 followed in the police car. While driving, trying to keep up at high speed with them, I ended up having a bit of a headache and crashed into a wall. When I had finished having my headache, I then was being dragged out of the car by a local, to which 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝑒𝐻𝑜𝑒𝑅, the knight in shining armour, saved me, tased the guy, and then realised how much of a headache I was having. And we decided from that moment on we would drive slow. When I arrived at Owl's office, I did ask if I could pay for damages, but he told me the government covers that, so it wasn't that bit of an issue. I then came back to the PD with them and decided maybe I should call it a night there. After speaking to Owl and 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝑒𝐻𝑜𝑒𝑅 and helping Owl out, that was enough for one day. I then come back to my little apartments here and decided I would go to bed and wait for what adventures will take me tomorrow. Today started off with me waking up at the apartment on Integrity Way because, this is my apartment. But today I decided that I need to go and get a job. So, off to City Services to see what they do. This is City Services, and so I came here. I went to go and get a job. Out of the list of jobs that they do, the only one that I felt was right for me was a journalist. So, I started off as a journalist in the city, just reporting on little bits and bobs that happen around. While I was driving around, I ended up at this spot. As I was pulling up to those traffic lights, a white car speeding past with a police car chasing it was inches away from hitting me. I slammed on the brakes, let them drive past, and now, when you get to those traffic lights, if you turn left, there's the PD there. I decided to pull into the PD just to, calm my nerves down after nearly being hit in a car chase. I then pulled into the spot that I'm in now, sat there trying to calm myself down. Then a black SUV pulled up next to me. Out got Owl. He got on top of his car, laid down, sat up, took his shirt off, and laid back down, which very much confused me. So I decided to get out of the car, go and ask him what he was doing, to which he replied to me he was sunbathing. But as you can see, there's a tree in front of that parking spot. So I just told him, if there's a tree there, you'll not get much shade. It's going to be pretty useless. And he agreed, so he pulled out into the middle of the street. And I was like, well, now you're going to block traffic, and if a car comes speeding past and crashes into your car, you're going to go flying. He then thought about it, to which I replied, if you look at the first car parking spot, it's empty, no tree, no shade, you can sunbathe perfectly. He said, you know what, you're right. Pulled his car into there, got back on top of his car, laid back down. I decided I would carry on with my adventures because that was already confusing as it was. I then decided after a bit of a drive around, trying to get to know the city and the places that I'll need to be a lot, I came back to my apartments to go to bed. Now, we're going to do a little bit of a time skip to a few days later and do another little story. So, after a few days, I woke back up in this apartment. I'd gotten really close to Willie and Owl in the past few days, and me and Willie decided to go to the cat cafe. So we'd come to the cat cafe, gone in, seen the cats. I then started messaging Owl, just checking in, being like, how you doing, blah, 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 blah. To which Owl said, where are you? I'll come meet you. So we said cat cafe. We all then decided to sit next to this beautiful tree on the grass, seeing as it was a beautiful, glorious day. When Owl arrived, he was telling us that he had resigned from being a lawyer and didn't know if he wanted to go into PD, seeing as they had offered him a job, or do a life of crime instead. We had told him, these are some options that he could do, and he decided to think on it for a bit. But while thinking about it, we decided, hey, let's go to Tequila La, celebrate that you've resigned. This is, this happy for you. So off to Tequila La we went. When we ended up arriving back here at Tequila La, I ended up bumping into Dirk again, which was really lovely to see him again. But I also managed to bump into Danny Digital, who runs the bar. He's like the manager of this place. I thought it'd be a great idea to ask him for a job, to which he said that he'll give me a trial. So he was showing me around and, just working how to use the bar and everything. Then Owl came in and said that he was having a pool party and asked if Danny could, serve the drinks, which meant on my trial shift, we was going to a pool party. How cool is that? So, off to Owl's for a lovely pool party. We made it to Owl's house. This is Owl's house. It's his little garden. But check out this view that he has. Isn't it incredible? So pretty. But anyway, made it to Owl's house. Started having the pool party. Got the drinks serving. Having a blast. I did, I was with Dirk and Danny and, of course, Willie and Owl, who I knew. I also bumped into Bobby again, which was fantastic. But I also met people like Stella, Herman, Jebby and Bert, who were so friendly and kind and welcoming. And I knew that, secret friendships would be made right here. So, the entire night I stayed away from water. Don't get me wrong, this pool is glorious. But I'm the type of person that I know I can't swim, so I tried to stay away from the water all night. But at one point, Owl asked me to follow him, so I followed. But he went into the water, so I stopped because, like I said, I wasn't getting in. He came, grabbed me, took me through the water, took me to his front doors, and only did that because he wanted to give me keys to his house. Because apparently everyone that works at 𝐵𝑇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪 has keys to his house. So that's was the only reason why he was doing it. But it was still a case of, what the, huh? But anyway, it was a really interesting day. But after that, went back to 𝐵𝑇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪. Danny had hired me as a full-time employee, and let's say we called it a night. So back to the apartments we go. I had come back here to Integrity Way's apartments, decided to go and get some sleep because I knew tomorrow would be a busy day now having an actual official job. We start off at the apartments, like always. Over the next few days, I spent days opening up 𝐵𝑇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪 and late night drives with Owl. But there was one day that I decided to help Willie decorate his house. So let's pop over there. So we'd come over to Willie's apartment, that's Willie, to help decorate. While here, I was just texting Owl because Willie decided that he wanted to go swimming. So I had asked Owl, because he knows everything, if there was any public pools around here, to which there weren't, but he remembered that he has a pool at his house. So we had gone back to Owl's house to go and have a swim in his pool. Let's go! So, quickly, just rewinding. When we was also at Willie's house, after relaying the information back on the fact of Owl letting us come to his house, Willie asked if anything was happening between me and Owl, to which I replied, no, I don't think so. So, we'd ended up coming here. Willie had a swim, but then Owl remembered that he had an office that had a deeper pool. So, guess where we're off to next? Owl's house. Well, Owl's office. Let's go. So, then we came to Owl's office. While here, I decided that I would tell Owl what Willie had said, to which Owl replied, maybe we should date. So, the joke was that me and Owl was dating and we was going to adopt Willie as our adopted son. How crazy time can be. So, he then said that he technically has a boat that we could go on and go on some mini adventures on the boat. So, let's go to the Marines where the boats shall be. So, we'd come down to the boats. I then tried to get on the boat. Unfortunately, nearly drowned, had to go to the hospital because, if you remember, I can't swim. We then got on the boat, went to a cave. It was a really beautiful cave. We then went to Humane Labs Research, had a nosy around. As we was then coming back, we accidentally went off a cliff, back into the water. I then drowned again. So, we had gone to Humane Labs and Research, had a nosy around, got the car back, and on the way back, we'd accidentally drove off a cliff and into the water. And yet again, I nearly drowned. So I had to go back to the hospital to get patched up, to get looked after. So, we had come back to my little apartment and got some sleep. As always, I decided to wake up in my glorious apartment, go out, and this time I decided to take a trip. Let's go on this adventure, shall we? So on my little adventures, I come across this theatre. As I stood here, I decided to message Owl, just checking in, as, I'm a nice person. To which he then sent me this long-ass reply back about how we couldn't date, he'd joined the PD, that's going to take up most of his time, he couldn't give me the time that I deserved, and, we're just better off remaining as good friends. Which was understandable, but it did slightly piss me off that it was over text message, but what can a girl do? Then Bobby ended up phoning me and was like, hi, how you doing? So I told him about, Owl dumping me through text, and his reply was, what a dog, who breaks up with someone over text? You are better than him and deserve better than him. And I was like, you know what? Bobby's right. I am an independent woman and I don't need no man to make me happy. So for the next few days, it was just spending time with Willie and working at 𝐵𝑇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝒳𝒪. Anyway, we're going to do another little time jump. So, this time, a few days later goes by and Willie ends up having his grand opening of Bean Machine Coffee. So, let's go and check that bit out so I can tell you the rest of the story there. This is Bean Machine. where Willie sells amazing coffee. So we had the grand opening, which was of course here, like I said. But let's say everything didn't go to plan. Let's go inside so I can explain. While at the grand opening of 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪 machine, let's say some mischief happened. 2 people in masks came in causing trouble, setting off fireworks, which a little bit put me on edge because I have the biggest fear of fireworks. And it's something that I'm trying to process quietly because I didn't want people to worry and everything. The masked people then also tried to fight the security guards of the Crumple Force. And then to make matters worse, some guy on a motorbike with a camera came in calling himself the Streamer Man. He started causing shit, harassing people. It then made the police come out, and I suggested, why don't we take the rest of the people that's not involved and is not the police to 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪 so we can let the police handle their job in peace. So off to 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒁 we went. So we brought everybody to 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒁. When we came inside, the Streamer Man followed us, to which Levi, Alex, John Alec and Orion all helped us get rid of him. He then disappeared, and yeah, the PD had to do their thing of protecting the city. But while having drinks, we heard 3 explosions from outside. I phoned LeChuck while Dirk went to go and lock up, because Dirk also works as a bartender here. I phoned LeChuck. He said, oh, it could be the locals. But I don't think it was because of the locals. So I decided to go and have a nosy at what it was. We'd all gone round the back to where the cars are to fetch our cars to go our own ways and for me to have a nosy. And we found out it was Stella's car, Dirk's car and Herman's bike that was exploded. So we phoned the police, told them to come down because this was an actual crime now. And then while the police were sorting that out, we heard gunshots. The only bit about this that was sort of somewhat funny was Stella was had her bar out, taking her anger out on her car, and accidentally hit me. So had to go and have a trip to the hospital to make sure I was okay and check myself out and get patched up. But I knew she didn't mean it, and I still love her. She's my fave. So this is the hospital. Ignore the doors closing and opening because I'm stood here, trying to give you guys content. So this is the hospital. We came here. I got patched up. I got settled, and then off to the apartments, which is literally there, to go to sleep and see, oh, there's a truck, sorry guys, to see what adventures I could get up with tomorrow. Today's was literally, so, spent it hanging out at 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒁 or the 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒁 machine, that's where I'd be. There was one of the days that I was at the 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒁 machine and came across an EMS called Sebastian and a PD officer called Kennedy. They was having a giggle outside about the fact that every time Kennedy goes into the hills, he always attracts the wildlife of cougars. And this was also the start of me and Sebastian getting very close, which you'll see soon. Over the next few days, me and Sebastian started hanging out more and more, getting to know each other. And not long after that, I kind of realised that I had feelings for him. But while being at the hospital, I met other doctors and became friends with Orion, Charlie, Charlotte, April. I also think that Takeout's pretty funny when he's with Ivanka. And I also met a doctor called 𝐶𝑒𝑟𝑒𝑛𝑦, which he's brill. Next day, came to work at 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒁 like always, when Dirk appeared with a new haircut. It slightly confused me as I wasn't used to seeing Dirk with short hair. The only problem was he now looks like Kennedy. So everyone at the club said that Dirk and Ellie should nip to a clothing store where Dirk can then dress up like Kennedy, to which he did. We then wanted to show Kennedy, so we went to the PD. So we had come to Mission Road Police Department, which is basically the PD, where all the police officers work. We had come to show Kennedy Dirk's outfit. The only problem was Kennedy wasn't here. So we decided to have a nosy around, go to the hospital. Can't remember why we went, but while we were there, that's when we bumped into Kennedy, and that's also where the story continues. This is going to be a bit of a long one, so buckle in. Something I did forget to tell you that while we were at the PD, we couldn't find Kennedy. So I took a photo of Dirk, posted it on Twitter, saying Kennedy's better looking, more attractive twin. Kennedy then tweeted me back saying that I was on his list. I've never been on anybody's list before, I'm so scared. So we went to the hospital because I wanted to check in with Seb. And while we was here, we bumped into Kennedy. We also bumped into Charlotte, Brooks and 𝐶𝑒𝑟𝑒𝑛𝑦. 𝐶𝑒𝑟𝑒𝑛𝑦 then told everyone to go into his office and one by one asked everyone to point out who is the real Kennedy. I picked the actual Kennedy because I was scared after he told me that I was on his list. 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝑐H came in and asked both Dirk and Kennedy what the teddy bear's name is, which is a thing in the PD. Don't ask, I don't know. Kennedy said that Dirk was the impersonating an officer and he could get arrested for it. With that in mind, Dirk took off and sped away and left me stranded at the hospital as he was my lift here. Anyway, I spent most of my day here with Seb until, it was time to go to bed. I was having so much fun and lots of laughter with all my friends, but I definitely needed to head to bed to see what the next adventures would be in 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻 City. So today's event was Celeste's event. Dirk then decided that we should all dress in white. We headed up to 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻𝑜𝓅𝑒𝒳𝒪, had a little bit of a chat, went to the clothing store, got all dressed up in white. Let me go and change into the white dress so you can see. I'm in my white outfit. I wish I could show you a full shot. So it got to the time of the event and off we went to City Hall for the event. So we arrived at the event. We stood outside. The mayor then turned up and said that the event wasn't authorised, like they didn't pass it by her to be a City Hall. So I didn't go in straight away. But then once the mayor had been in there a while, I thought, you know what, we best go in and see what's happening. While at the event, I stood next to Colton, Stella, Seb and the mayor. During the event, there was different people speaking, and at one point Stella said she could have done with a drink. Luckily, I had just come back from the bar, so I had a bunch of drinks on me. I handed one to Stella, and we had a drink. I'd brought a few drinks anyway to treat Bobby as a well done on the PA job at the event. So we were standing having drinks. Stella then asked Bobby to cue his music, which he did, and then during the song, Stella took out a gun and started shooting at people, so I ran out the doors as fast as I could in the heels that I was in. So the first thing I did when I got outside was look for my friends. I found Seb, Dirk, Maya and Herman, but I knew that there were still some friends missing. That had to be inside, Stella, Colton and Bobby. I was that traumatised that I didn't know if my friends was okay or anything, that I really panicked. I told Seb, didn't mean to, but in a harsh way, being like, I'm not moving from this spot till my friends come outside and I know that they're okay. Sebastian told me that was fine, as long as I stayed behind the car. I stayed there, watching the doors. That's when I saw Colton come outside. I ran up to him, hugged him, asked him if he was okay. He said he'd been shot in the chest and there was a few bullet scraps still there. Seb patched him up, but I still wasn't leaving. I then turned my head towards the door and saw Stella and Bobby walk out. I ran to them and made sure that they was okay and safe as well. Once I knew that everybody was okay, I started telling people to head up to 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻 and that they could have a drink on the house to calm everybody's nerves. Everyone came here, we handed them all drinks and everything, we all managed to calm down. Everybody then went separate ways, but the rest of that details will stay private because it was traumatising for me, OOC, never mind IC, so yeah. Let's just say, went to bed and we'll get ready for tomorrow. It's a few days later and it's Halloween. I had planned a while ago to have a Halloween costume competition party at 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻 and I don't know if anyone's going to turn up, but it's a learning curve and let's go and get ready. Maybe this should have been a pre-planned thing. Anyway, let's go! Party time! Woo! So this is my outfit. I decided to dress up as Sam from Cinderella Story, although everybody did keep commenting saying that I looked like Anastasia Steele from 50 Shades of Grey. Who would have thought? We managed to pull off a great event. We got everybody to stand in around the stage. God, sorry, one of the locals are shouting. Walk on one by one, say their name, what they've dressed up as, and do a little, catwalk. I had my photographer Dirk taking all the photos and everything. I had my judges 𝐵𝓇𝑜𝓀𝑒𝐻 and Hawkins judging each outfit, giving me a number out of 10, and I would then count it up and everything. And I had Danny be the announcer because my voice was hurting, so I couldn't shout at everybody to, get them to listen. But yeah, once I calculated the scores, it turned out that Kennedy had won first place, meaning that he won $5,000 and an open bar for a week. While I was downstairs attending to everything, there was somebody called Morgan who was running around cutting people's kidneys out of their body. Sebastian ended up catching it and reported it to the police, and also was texting me the entire time with updates about what was happening. After the party, everybody decided to go to the hospital because Jebby had woken up from his coma, I think it was. I had stopped to, just breathe. Now I finally could breathe after the event. To which Bobby stopped me, quickly having a chat and to congratulate me on the success of my first event, and had a lovely photo with me. I love Bobby so much. After the whole event and everything, went back to the hospital, to which Sebastian had told me that Morgan had threatened Seb's life after he catched her what she was doing to patients. So I decided to stick with Sebastian the entire night to make sure that he was okay and safe. And not long after that, we both went to bed, hoping that tomorrow would be a lot better with.